Guinston Tech, how you doing? Here's a Sunday morning simple setup for us Guinston Tech folks. This board is typically in here. We will need to gain access to this room, which is the audio visual room. That's the door you need to gain access to. One of our tech members or tech staff will help you get access at approximately 7:45 a.m. 7:30 is great, 7:45 is okay. 8 o'clock is probably too late because we typically have a worship team called Glorify that practices before a 9:15 showtime for Sunday school. So you basically have from 7:30 to 9:15 to get all the practices in for special music and for Glorify, which will be done up there. I'll show you in a second. Regardless, this board is typically inside of this room, sitting right here. Step one is to ensure that this red and black cable follows along the mixing board when you take it through this doorway. Make sure the doorway is free and clear of all cabling. You do not want to push this over any cabling. It will destroy the cables. So here's what it looks like in the back. This is already all hooked up. You are only responsible for making sure this gets safely around the corner. Your next step is to plug in power. The power is for the entire rack. It uses these great power conditioners, and plugs in all the devices. So step one is to get this thing plugged in and access to the room. Step two is to make sure you have your peripherals. Do you need a CD today? Find the CD if you don't have it. No big deal. Do you require a laptop? You do require a laptop for a live stream. What else? Another laptop to be able to do the projectors. At this point, once you have all your peripherals set up, your goal is to find this remote. And then you're gonna press the blue power button and you're going to point it directly at that guy. If you've heard a beep, you know it works. We have 3 projectors here. There's one in that corner. Bam. And there's one hidden back here that if you didn't know, it's there. So you literally press the button, it'll show up on the screen. You can press the button again if you need to turn it off. Reverse order. It'll show you. Press the button again to power off. At the end of the service, this is setting up the service though. What is this monitor for? What is this for? It's got a confidence monitor so that the band, Glorify, or anyone else presenting or speaking at the service can see what's going on. Pretty important stuff. Now you have all your peripherals set up, screens, laptops, everything else. This is a perfect time to grab 2, 4, 6, 8 batteries. That's 2 batteries per 4 microphones. These are wireless microphones. So what we'll do is we'll just grab one set for now. You're gonna grab all 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And walk all these 8 batteries up to your microphones. There's one, sometimes back at the drums. There's another one, 3 and 4. How do I know what channels they go to? One of our techs, Dave, did a great job of putting a marker on them so we know. So 30, 31. You can move these in any order that you want. That's the gist. How do I change the batteries? Well, here's the batteries we grabbed. We'll have 8 of them when you go to do this. This piece right here screws off. You place the battery by looking at the negative and positive. That would be wrong. That would be correct. Use the other battery, negative, positive. They go in the housings. And you screw that back on. Then you press the power button until it goes green. I didn't actually put the batteries in, so it's not going to go green. All of those need turned on and ready to rock. All right, next step. This is assuming everything is properly cabled. We could have done a different order and, powered something up on the stage, but we're going to do it this way. You now have the ability to power on the mixing board. Pretty important stuff. Mixing board's being powered up. This is an X32 Behringer. You'll see the screen for your laptop come on. You'll be logging into that, which I'm going to do right now, but I'm not going to show you the password So here at Guinston Tech, we care about, you know, password protection. If you're listening closely, you at least know how many characters we have. Okay, I have to use home row apparently. But here we are. We are at our mixer. Well, how do I know what to do? Real easy. You can keep it as is and look at all of the inputs. So you're going to use bank 17 through 32. And I'll show you. These are our handheld 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the mics we just put batteries into. Pretty self-explanatory. Electric guitars up there, acoustic, bass, clavinova, choir left and choir right. Those little choir microphones are the little guys right there. Little tiny mic right there. There's another one on the other side right there. So these require phantom power. These choir mics, which are right here, left and right. And then pretty self-explanatory. The big ones you care about, pulpit mic. Test, 1, 2. So if you can see the levels come up. We care about our next row of stuff. Electric, acoustic, bass, clav. If we have a choir, the vocal mics. We can mute those. None of this works, however, if you don't have the master unmuted. So technically no sound would come out. That's the master left and right speakers. For sake of fun, we're going to mute these and go to our second row. What's important here? Our aux 5 and 6, which produce music for us, which is this cable that plugs into the back. Plenty of additional cable. Sometimes we'll play videos, and we'll take this cable and we'll plug it in here. Okay, what's this laptop? This laptop's for our presentation. Currently it's used for PowerPoint. Soon there'll be additional videos for Presenter Pro. Again, another password to log into. And yes, sometimes YouTube videos are embedded into the slides as well, which eventually show up on all 3 monitors. You can see now that there's no source connected because the machine's not powered on with an application. It says check input source. That's what this HDMI cable does. So we will need to take that portion down so no one trips on it. We have security individuals back here. I'm not going to show you their setup. These are the media converters, I'll call them, from HDMI to this Cat5 cabling, which allows us to run really long data lines to those projectors. Here's your CD player. Again, that's pretty easy to find. I'm just going to go through here and look for CD. Another way to test that is just to actually play a CD and see where levels come up. There you are. There's your 2 CD. There used to be another CD deck in there. We only have one. It's going to be this one, 13 and 14. So that won't produce any audio. Pretty easy. This is going to be your live stream. There is a setup video for the live stream portion that I'll put in the comments of this, so you know how to do it and how to log in. Don't know why I couldn't log in, but we'll talk about that later. So okay, we have a live stream. We sure do. But first we have to turn on our power. So here is our one-stop shop power switch, labeled in orange. We just fire that up, and our crown amp, which probably should be on stage, not here, is going to power 4 speakers, 4 passive speakers, 4 Yamahas. You will probably hear best from this one, but I encourage you to do this next step. And that next step is to ensure that this cream-colored cable is plugged in and all of its mess of cable and runs to the whole way to the back of the mixer and is plugged in, showing network connectivity. It's a physical connection to our network. Cool, why do we do that? Well, this is why. We want to go ahead and fire up our iPad. I won't show you the password. Now that we're in, we're going to hit X32 Mix. Now that that's completed, we see that it's automatically connected. This is great news. So what's going to happen is we're going to go through and look at a digital version of all of our stuff. So this is just another way to mix. If you need to get to the main mix, there it is. Here's something cool. Just to prove to you that it's a wireless connectivity, I'll put this here, as we often do. And I will move this. And look at that fader. Pretty awesome. So there you have it. If we call up channels 1 through 8 here, we can call channels up 1 through 8 here. Now I know this is 1 through 16, but we also have a 9 through 16 here, which does the same thing. So just to prove that to you, channel 8 is going to move up and down. Channel 8. 9 through 16 on this one, but 16 up here. So that's how it's broken out. Groups of 8 down here, 1 through groups of 16 up here. Just like a 16 channel mixing board. Here's another 16 channel mixing board. And then here's our auxes. You do the same thing here, except they're miniature 8 channel mixing boards, but still groups of 16. When you go 8 for 8. Your auxes, same thing. I'm in the aux zone. Look. Can I mute them? Sure can. I can mute them remotely. Look at the lights go on and off. This is awesome stuff. So if you'd like to use that feature, it's there. Well, what happens next? Didn't you say about a live stream? I sure did. First thing you want to do is come to this device, click on live stream. I'm sorry, click on Mevo. Walk back. Do a quick look at this. See how we're only at 1 dot? That should read 4 because we want a full battery. Do be very careful when connecting this connector or removing it. You could end up like this with a broken connector. Just showing you results of misuse. See, that's all crunched up in there? No good. Okay, we don't have a whole lot of juice, but we're gonna do this anyways. Best results practice. See, there are things that we forget. Want to make sure that's on. Now it's left on, which is fine because that's our main power. But this is important. Why is it important? Because it controls these speakers. One of the things you should do during the morning check is to come out and listen to those speakers while, let's say, a band is playing or a performer is playing or the worship team is, to see if it's distorting or sounds good. One of the next steps we're going to do is power up the Mevo by pressing the button on the top. You should hear a noise. And then you should also have a light turn on the actual speaker. I'm sorry, this is a microphone. There it goes. So that's on. Now what we want to do is look at the live streaming software. It says, please update your Mevo's Wi-Fi network. So sometimes that happens when this hasn't powered up. So we're waiting for it to connect. It did connect to our Wi-Fi here, as well as our device already connected. We're going to click the button connect. Don't do a firmware update the morning of the service. Terrible idea if this happens to you. We will do it later though. You see these two negotiate space on our network. They are now talking. Pretty cool stuff. This is another video. What you want to do now that you're kind of up and running with the application and connectivity is walk this guy all the way up to the front row. Best practice says this. I usually put it right in between there. So right now we have a speaker there. Our audio is going to come from there. It's going to hit that microphone, the blue microphone. If you noticed, instead of looking direct, I have this pointed towards the speaker. The lens itself is pointed here, not here, not here, straight ahead. Why? Because the look angle of this camera is more like this. So you can get the pastor in the pulpit and go all the way up and get lyrics at the same time. You'll see in a second. What we want to do is maximize the height. Usually that's pretty good. Just give you an idea. Again, we want to take the microphone, and kind of point it towards the speaker because that's where our audio is coming from. These loosen up, these loosen and tighten as well. And our camera, look angle, blue, we are linked, ready to rock. Walking back. Make sure our laptops are good, make sure this is good. Our mics are unmuted. I muted it for our sake right now. That is good to go. So, last step. We want to make sure these wireless mics are taken care of. It's a good time to test them. ATW2 and ATW4 are pretty good to go. When I say that, I mean they're EQ'd. So the next thing we're going to talk about real quick are scenes. What are scenes and what do they do? We have pre-built scenes. Here's how you get to them. You walk up to the mixing board, you migrate to the scenes section. You click view. After view, you go to page select, over to scenes. Now we have all the different scenes we can use. I'm currently going to use the one that's loaded. You'll be briefed on which one to use. Sometimes you might have a wireless device called a Roomba that does cleaning. I think they know I'm here because I don't think this runs this late as it comes directly towards me. I thought they had the ability to do that. Don't be startled by that if you're setting up after hours. Last step. We talked about the wireless lapel mics. They need batteries. They need 2 of these guys. Yep, that's what happens. Next step. Last step. Just don't forget, you want to power the mixing board on first. Then bring up all your power items, like power amps. It's the reverse order when you tear down. Connectivity issues with the clav, that's where that would happen. You would adjust it there and make sure it goes all the way back to the snake. Or in our case, we have a box that's really tough to get into on purpose with direct input boxes. Radial DIs. However, this must be turned on. That power amp powers these monitors. Don't worry, whoever's watching, these are 16 ohm speakers, which breaks them down to 8 if we were to link them. Secret trick, there's also a secret monitor there for choir. All one monitor mix. Okay, that's as much as I can put into one video that's about 20 minutes long. Appreciate you for sticking it out. Setup, teardown procedures are all here. Hit us up if you got questions. We are going to start offering trainings to chunk this up, to break down in more detail what needs done, how and why. Specifically iPad training, how to go through and EQ a channel, provide compression, miking drums, but not bringing it through the main audio system, and then our live stream broadcast stuff. A lot of stuff going on here at Guinston Tech, a lot of stuff to remember, and a lot of things to take care of for folks. But that's why we're here. All right, God bless. Peace.